These are law offices. The lawyers are making a lot of money. Under arrest? No? Okay. Am I under arrest? Got my press badge. Oh, where my press badge? Ta-da! I mean, I have it on me. I can show it at any time. I don't usually walk around with press, but I guess I'm filming, so I should probably put my press credentials on so people don't get all upset. So this is the sheriff's parking garage for the jail, for all the correctional officers. This parking enforcement officer is going the extra mile for this lady. I'm not sure what's going on. Helping her register at the kiosk, I think. Oh, there goes the EMS into the jail. The parking enforcement, they are on it. So this is for law enforcement only parking. But they don't write cops tickets. I've already tried. The cops are in taxi zone, no, tow-away taxi zones. The cops park there and go to the coffee shop. I had a Lieutenant Nisula that was also, I don't know, he's probably assistant chief now. He was also doing it, violating the parking laws, because the laws don't apply to the cops. See, I want you to notice this right here. Here's the jail, the courts on the other side. They're right next to each other. But like, let's take a look at this here. Maybe not. But this is law enforcement only. This guy looks to be, I guess he's not in front of it. I thought he was in front of the sign, but he's not. So they're all parked correctly. I totally support the police for that. EMS is trying to get someone to take him to the hospital. They took me to the hospital last time I was arrested. They didn't like my whatever, my blood work, whatever it was. So we're here for justice for Rajan Moon Singh. We're now here at the court. This is the we're outside the building, but this is the county criminal court, and there's also district courts up here. And I'm really confused. I think that's is it the state district? I'm not really sure. Or is it the county? I think it's the state. It's like a district of courts for the state, but it's in the county courthouse, so a little confusing. Maybe I'll ask a lawyer that's not rude to me. Anyhow, so yeah, Officer Carl Kreitcha, he's still on the force. He's involved in with Christopher Taylor and the murder of Mike Ramos. He was a witness, and he's up facing, I don't know, deadly conduct, I think, charges instead of murder, because the juries here are difficult. This is where we're at. The juries here are difficult, and justice is hard to get unless they're coming after a citizen. It's easy, but when they're coming after the actual government agents that commit crimes, it's almost like complete anonymity. So we're hoping for justice. Today is day one. I believe it's floor 9, District Court 290, Judge Karen Sage. If you want to come out and check it out, you can quietly sit in the back end like I will and just watch. Can't film inside the court. camera kid. I'm a photographer. They got cookies and stuff. Resource fair, art from the streets. CAPDS.
Yeah, we have a resource fair going on.
What's CAPDS?
The capital area.
Oh, who do I talk to file a complaint?
With CAPS?
Yeah, because
Your
like
attorney?
they keep violating the law. Like no, like all their attorneys have violated the law.
Okay.
So like they
Okay.
have 24 hours to contact you.
Uh-huh.
What the attorneys have told me is that they're overburdened, that they can't even get people out of jail. They weren't there for my mom. They wouldn't answer the phone. My mom had to take money to get out of jail because I was doing my press work.
Okay.
I've been faced like a lot of charges with or without attorneys for film for being a member.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry you had a bad experience,
no, it's the law. It's like they're violating the law. So I have to contact the bar, but people come in and try to contact y'all first.
Yeah, you can totally call us. Yeah, I mean, one of our attorneys, CAPS, is here today. But there's also a ton of agencies that offer a lot of resources that are not associated with CAPS.
I used to be with Art from the Streets before they art washed it.
Oh,
Texas Advocates for Justice, East Bay, Grassroots Leadership, East Bay, Austin, so Chasmore pays himself over $100,000 a year, and they're not here today for this murder trial.
I'm really sorry that you had a bad experience.
We have injustices. We have like injustices. We're not Karen, right? What's your name?
Kaylee.
Kaylee. Okay, close enough. Yeah, so like, yeah, I mean, if you want justice, follow me.
You can always come back.
Okay, thank you. But like, and other fake ass grifting orgs and NGOs, profits onto justice. They aren't here watching this murder trial or deadly conduct trial. Us and Justice Coalition, they're not going to be here. They're all just show. They're no go. And so like, it's offensive to people that have been unjustly, these lawyers and NGOs and non-players and NGOs and non-profits, profits, and the press lie and just grift. All right. Is it locked? So we're outside here. And the officer, Carl Kreitch, is in there, I believe, with his defense attorneys. They're doing opening statements, defense and the prosecution, which is going to be Dexter Guilford of the district attorney's office. I don't know if they're going to show it up here. It's blacked out. Yeah, the dockets are blacked out up here, both of them, it looks like. So, oh no, this one's not blacked out. No docket today, it says. That's all you need to know. No docket. Oh, wait. Oh, it's lazy. Go to jail. This is the one of the first judges that needs to get held accountable. After Kukurik has a long history. You can look it up. It's like I don't know, KOREK, something like that. Or it might be a U in there. I don't know. Don't get me lying. But we're up here, and the opening statements are going on. There's no room in the court, so don't bother coming up unless you want to wait for a break and try to get in there. But there's also a lot of people showing up that weren't informed by their attorneys or the courts that their court's not here today. So, you figure it out? There's another guy that's lost. I told him to go to the 8th floor. There's another guy that's lost. I told him to go to the 8th floor. He has to go to the 5th floor. But he thought he had to be in the same court where there's basically a murder trial. You can call it deadly conduct or whatever. It's just what the deal is. The law is so protectionist and granularly. It on such a granular level. They have it all hemmed up and complicated, so the average person can't find justice. So that the state and bad actors within the state are able to hide behind the law while enforcing stupid laws. So all these stupid laws like walking across the street is illegal. I've been arrested for that so many times because I was filming the police doing something wrong and they didn't want to be filmed, so they retaliated. And that should be illegal. That should be a crime. Police abuse should be a crime. But instead there's all these, it's not just qualified immunity. There's, as you can see, let me try to explain. Being a layman, not a lawyer, they're letting somebody in. Yet they're not letting the press in today, except for press that got in early or something. There's no room for the press because they chose a courtroom that's up on the upstairs on the 8th floor. There's only 9 stories on this criminal courthouse in Justice Convention Center. On the first floor, there's big rooms with glass, and they have big murder trials there, but they don't have big murder trials with police or government agents. They just have them with citizens, or what they call civilians, since the government has declared war on the people. So the law, there's different sets of law. There's apparently a set of law for the government and its agents, even bad cops that murder people, and then there's another set of laws for you and me. And that is what the founding fathers, the writers of the Constitution, the people that penned and signed the Constitution of the United States of America that we're supposedly living in, that's what they were worried about. Exactly what's going on right now, that the state would like violate your rights and seize you up and kidnap you and kill you or do anything they want, and they could totally get away with it with, just with impunity and with immunity, impune and immune. And so that's what's going on. And the fact that the courts don't allow people to film is part of the problem with the transparency here. So I'm allowed to film out here. The medias are allowed to film out here. And citizens can probably do the same thing if they're acting as media. But I'm sure the judge has some kind of reasons, but they never allow us to film in these courtrooms. Never, none of these courtrooms, none of the courtrooms. And that's a problem because they're obfuscating the facts and the happenings of what's going on from the public. They're hiding in plain view, and they won't allow us to hide. They're always monitoring your cell phone. They know everywhere you go. They had it mapped out during the coronavirus epidemic. They were mapping everybody. They admitted it. They didn't ask your permission. You didn't have to have an app. They just map your phone. Your phone has MAC addresses. Your phone has all sorts of stuff. There's a sheriff looking all goofy. I'm not sure what's going on. But also, what was I going to say? Also, so it has multiple MAC addresses, which are machine address codes. And so those are attached to IP addresses in the TCP/IP stack. There's all sorts of other RF network stuff going on modern day cell phones, and they usually have a ring above you that's multiple towers have like a communication ring above your cell phone, where they can look at all the metrics and all the data and everything that's going through the radio frequencies, which is like microwave and 5G and 4G and all that. So and they have technology that the RF engineers, because I've worked with RF engineers and then I've done networking, and so the RF engineers can look at, they told me that they can look at every phone out there, and that was before they became more modern and more trackable. So your phone's a tracking device. The government is always monitoring you in parks, as you drive around the city, as you walk around the city, bicycle and a skateboard. They're monitoring you with artificial intelligence, point, tilt, zoom, and stationary cameras, drones, helicopters, sometimes small planes like Cessnas and Pipers. And you can look some of that up, like the flying objects. You can often look them up if you use different governmental FAA websites and find out what's going on, who owns it, and even sometimes what the intent was, that they licensed that flight path or that they registered that flight path, and so they can like not have collisions in space and in the sky up there. So the government's always watching you, and they're always trying to hold you accountable. But are they ever trying to hold themselves accountable? I would say no. I would say the government in general, sometimes it'll patsy one of its agents to have a propaganda excuse and say, hey, no, we arrested this one cop for like Officer Bloom because he was going 100 miles an hour down 6th Street at 4 a.m. while drunk. Okay, so he got fired for that. He got caught and he got fired. So there's accountability. But I can only think of one time that a murder by cop was in Austin that I have watched went forth, and actually no, I'm sorry. So two cops that have murdered people have been fired. Officer Freeman that shot Jeffrey, now I can't remember his name. Officer Freeman that killed David Joseph, a naked black teenager, shot him dead within like 5 seconds out in the street. Said he was in fear for his life. But Officer Freeman was never held to a murder count. I don't know if I think there was a civil trial, and I think that the family did get some compensation from the government. Of course, it won't bring back their son. It probably wasn't even a reasonable amount, but the courts are pro-government. They're anti-people. That's the deal. Your courts are anti-people. They don't like you. And so it's time to clean house. People are talking about cleaning house at city council or cleaning house at the Congress. No. You need to clean all those houses. You need to fire everybody down to a clerk, everyone that's not in janitorial. Everybody except for mechanical and janitorial. And maybe the mechanical, because these people out here are lazy. You saw me Monday when they just left equipment laying around for their acoustical ceiling tiles that they're putting in the courts here. Or I think it's in the jail, actually. But I don't know, they walked down. I don't know where the heck they went. But they just left boxes laying around, and I didn't know what they were. And I examined the letters on the box to see what I was looking at, because it was an odd thing. So the government doesn't hold itself accountable, but you're totally transparent at all times because of the government. And that's the government that the writers of the Constitution warned you about. They had no idea what would happen in the future, but they wanted to protect against all these types of transgresses by an authoritarian type of government. Think of China, think of like old Italy, think of Nazi Germany, think of Russia, USSR, Russia, Belarus, China, of course, North Korea. These are authoritarian governments, and nowadays they have the technology to totally track you no matter where you go. And there's Austin Sanders. There he is. And so you need to do something. You need to clean house because the government doesn't give a shit about you, and it's spending your money to come after people of color, to come after poor people, even poor white veterans. Like even people like you are going to be targeted by this government if it's out of control. I mean, it begins somewhere, but then it expands. It might begin with indigenous people in our lands and our culture and our words, our tongues. They cut out indigenous tongues so we couldn't talk. They re-educated children to be as white as they could be, to conform to their new society of the colonizer. That's where it began. That's actually where it began, the curse on this soil. And then, they did this African slavery. They did white indentured servants from Europe, even like the Irish, of course, and other Europeans, Anglo-Europeans were subject to oppression. And the thing is, most of the groups that migrated here, Native American, indigenous people were already here. Native Americans, whatever you want to call us, we were here already. Okay, we were already here. That's how you'll know. If you're indigenous, your family was already here before people came to settle and steal land, which is ongoing. It still goes on to this day. But most people left Europe because of political, religious fascism and oppression, and that's why they came here. And so that's why the Constitution was written in such a way to prevent that from ever happening again, because they had been through so much. Their families and ancestors had been through much oppression, through the Crusades, through the kings and queens, through the fights between Protestants and Catholics, both Christians. They're killing each other, with knights and spears and swords and catapults and trebuchets and all that. And all that was going on. And they had seen enough of that. What they wanted is not to have a king, not to have a queen, not to have a monarchy, not to have a pope, not to have any kind of fascism or oppression, to be free. And that's what they wanted to be. Unfortunately, they had to steal land to be free. They had to go squat on somebody else's land. They couldn't apparently find Greenland or Antarctica or wherever. But so they ended up here. A lot of people ended up here, which is why I'm talking about it. And here I am in Austin. Stephen F. Austin was a slave-owning land impresario that bought and sold slaves and stole land. Remember the Alamo? That was about colonization. Indigenous Mexicans were trying to keep Anglos from Tennessee and other places from settling this area and turning it into a African-American slave plantation for cotton and other things. And that's why people were fighting. That's what the revolution was about. The Texas Revolution is colonizers trying to steal land, and they even stole the cannons. If you look up the Gonzales story, is it the Gonzales flag, the Gadsden flag, the one that says "Come and take it," is because the Anglos settlers had borrowed a cannon from the city of Gonzales, which is near Shiner, Texas, not far from here, like an hour. And they borrowed a cannon, or maybe it's more than one cannon. And then they refused to give it back to the native Mexicans that lived here. And they said, "You can come and take it. We'll blow you up, basically. They'll kill you with the cannon if you want to get it back. I know we just borrowed it, but we just stole it." And that's the mentality, the thieving, mentality that created Austin, that created the South, that created the North, that created the East and the West, all around this country. And it was pervasive, just a land grabbing mentality, property grabbing mentality, rape, pillage, and plunder kind of thing. It's kind of like the Viking kind of theology, just go around and go up the river and steal people's stuff, go across the sea and steal people's stuff, and then go back. As I understand it from watching History channels. Of course, I wasn't there. But, so all of this oppression went on, and people came here, settled, and said, "Hey, we're not going to have that oppression anymore," while they were oppressing others. They said, "We're not going to oppress." And then the curse is, here we are. It's getting worse and worse. There's National Guard going after for MAGA, Greg Abbott, big clan dragon. He's sending MAGA down he's sending his troops down, military veterans, and you can see it on my live stream like 2 weeks ago. The veterans are embarrassed and upset that they're having to dishonor their oath and go after other veterans that are homeless when the VA should have taken care of them. The city, the county, the state should have taken care of veterans that risked their life or signed up to serve the country, and then now are abandoned by the same country that they thought that they were serving. That is a travesty. That is a dishonorable travesty, and it's a total injustice to violate people's Fourth Amendment rights in the first place, their Eighth Amendment rights, their Fifth Amendment rights, their 14th Amendment right to due process. The government should have a lien or warrant. They shouldn't just say, hey, you group of people are illegals, even though they're totally citizens, and deprive them of the rights. And all people in the United States have the same rights. We don't, under the Constitution, it doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not a citizen, or in another status of like residency or temporary work visa or political asylum. It doesn't matter. We all have the same rights. And so any of our rights that are violated affect your rights. And you need to think about that every once in a while. And so here we are being obfuscated. The news can hear. The other news channels have headphones. They can hear the opening statements, but I can't hear them. I can't hear them outside the door and the inner. It's like an outside chamber to the courtroom. It's like a little mezzanine and a little hall, and there's two sets of doors, and I can go in between them and put my ear up, but I can't hear it. And there's no room inside the court, but I'm going to still try to get in there for you guys so I can get some coverage. But I just want to give you a status update and tell you that this is for Rajan Moon Singh, which is I want to say he was a son of Sri Lankan immigrants, but I'm not sure. I know that he was at his home. He's an entrepreneur. He was an entrepreneur. He was doing well. He had his own home in Austin, and the police came up. He called the police, I believe, and the police came up and saw him with a rifle trying to defend his home because he thought there was someone outside. We don't really have the details on that because the news doesn't tell the whole truth. So I'm just telling you what I've seen on the news, and on the corporate news, not on this news. And so the officer within seconds shot him, killed him, just like with the David Joseph story, except for this time it was a homeowner, a taxpayer, a person of color, and the officer shot him. And it's white Officer Kryche, he's shot at least 2 people that we know of. We don't know how many people he's shot or been involved in shootings with. We know he was Christopher Taylor's buddy on the RISE team, which is an anti-homeless group, a police group that, like a gang, that I forget what RISE stands for, but they got an acronym. But yeah, it was just a gang that went and stalked the homeless, and on the east side of Austin, we covered them lying and threatening people and all that for just living in a tent, poor. And I reported him to the Office of Police Oversight, and not long after that, Christopher Taylor is shot and killed Mike Ramos, and Carl Kryche was there, his buddy, defending him in court at the murder trial. But Christopher Taylor, I believe, was not found guilty. I think he got away with that one. He did get some other case that I think he got another, Christopher Taylor, APD officer Christopher Taylor, bad cop. I think he got fired and he got charged with like official oppression or some kind of stupid charge. Lesser charge, got probation, went to go work at somewhere else. He's probably working for ICE right now, snatching people of color up. He's obviously a white supremacist. That there's white supremacy that is rampant at APD. We've seen Nazi tattoos on APD officers on their own body cam.
that we've gotten from discovery in my federal case. I've released that. You can find it in a reel that I did, or not a reel, shouldn't call it a reel, a video that I edited and produced, I don't know, in the last year, talking about APD. And I think the cover shot is the cop's arm on his body cam with the lightning bolt inside some other iconography that looked like, it looks like Aryan Brotherhood, according to my sources. And this is an APD officer that's not being held accountable. The police department is not holding themselves accountable. The city council's seen the video. They don't care. But yeah, he has a Nazi tattoo, but like he doesn't have both his lightning bolts because he hasn't killed a person of color or done some other courageous Aryan Brotherhood. I'm just going to call them Nazis because that's what my source says, that they're all basically just other words for Nazis. Whether it's Aryan Brotherhood, whether it's the Ku Klux Klan, whether it's MAGA, these are all Nazis. They're all conditioned with Nazi talking points. They're all racist, white supremacists, white nationalists. Nazis were white nationalists that wanted to purify Germany. So like, there we go. They were a nationalist party. We've got Christian nationals that are also Nazis, like Charlie Kirk. Like Nazi is a real thing. And most of this oppression is coming from that kind of thing, from like, this is the result of Project Paperclip. When they brought Nazi scientists and others into the United States to incorporate them into our government and created NASA because they had rockets and different technologies, methamphetamines, they had, the Nazis had, what other technology? Fluoride. They had all sorts of things that got incorporated in our government when our government invited Nazis back over here to come homestead them, to colonize your land. So now the Nazis are in charge. They've been in charge for quite a while, since I think the 40s or 50s, 1940s or 50s. That's last century. But anyhow, that's all the update I have for today. I don't think that people are going to be ready for a history lesson. Y'all may not want to hit search on your browser to find Project Paperclip, Dr. Karl von Braun, and all the others. You may not want to look at the origins of NASA. You may not want to look at Henry Ford and how he financed Adolf Hitler to write Mein Kampf that began the Nazi Party. You may not want to be looking at, the culpability of American history and world history. So just stay stuck. Don't look around. Just stay where you're at. It's all just about you and that paycheck, bruh. You're going to be good. Get that paycheck. Nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. You reckon? I'll see y'all later. So we're still here at the court, and I've been listening to the court. I got some notes for you guys, but the first thing I have to do is major correction. There's actually 2 murder trials this week here by the police department, Alaskan Police Department, and this is not the Carl Kreitzer case. This is this Daniel Sanchez case, and I should have known that. I guess it's just too early in the morning. Daniel Sanchez is the officer who, within seconds, at the same time that he warned Rajan Munsingh, he shot him. He was still warning him to drop his gun, and his back was kind of towards the officer, and the officer basically shot him. The first round of 3 shots within a second, and still he was still saying the word "drop your gun," and at gun he started shooting at, like, pretty much on that. At the time, he was trying to warn him. He didn't give sufficient time, apparently, according to the opening statements. And this is actually a witness. I didn't watch the opening statement. This is the first witness, and it's the prosecution's witness. So their use of force experts here saying that Rajan wasn't given sufficient time to respond. There's a lot of cops in the room. There's a lot of people I don't know. But there's a bunch of bad cops, and there's a bunch of bad DAs here, too.
And that might be the DA that's trying with that guy. Or it could be, I thought it was Guilford. And then you got that cop right there. You got several cops here that are, and there was even a fire department guy. I don't know if he's going to be a witness or something else, but yeah, it's a mess down there. But I wanted to make that major correction. After this is uploaded, I'll have to change the title. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting murder trial because the man had a rifle and, you know, all that. No, some of these guys, I don't know who they are. It's a bit of a mess in here. But the jury goes out the back, so it's no problem. You can film out here. The jury's up to the judge's protection. Anyways, I'll let you guys know what happens. Yeah, I can go see if I can get in. No, I did. Anyway, so how many shots are justified? How many shots were justified? And so, we also have a higher IQ. And I definitely have more to do. Both of them put together. They were like little associate degrees and shit. Bachelor's and clan. Have a responsibility to stop at the first shot. So since the first shot was enough, and he wasn't firing back at him, he had no reason to follow up with the other 2 rounds, and the second 2 rounds. So he had shot 5 shots, where John has moved and twisted away from Officer Sanchez, has already dropped his gun. Final 2 shots were deliberate to create pain and with it, we call control. They're controlling someone they already killed, basically. Both hands raised. He raises both hands and collapsed to the ground. He was unarmed because he'd already dropped the gun, the rifle. And then the police provide medical aid and they clear his house. And then EMTs come and do life-saving measures. The DA sucks. Well, because that guy is controlling the jury. That guy's just doing felony shit. Trump and Biden again? Trump for Biden? For Biden?
Yeah. Wear a MAGA hat would be good. So no one needs to take it in.
Don't worry about it. I don't know, I can't read it. I can't read your writing. Work on it. Mexican as hell.
Why don't you go in?
I thought that was Frank right there.
So what are they doing downstairs?
So AJC's not here. Texas Advocates for Justice aren't here, but they're sponsoring donuts downstairs. They're fucking ridiculous.
Here, you want a donut?
Guess who that group is downstairs? The Travis County Private Defender's Office. The one that keeps screwing me over. And she came up to me and approached me. I asked him what that acronym she's told me, and I'm like, oh, how do I file a complaint against you? Karen.
I'm sorry, I have a bad experience, or what?
I believe I live. Yes, you saw it. It was live. Karen. That was my Karen cam.
Check out your Karen cam. Let's see.
I mean, I don't understand. If these cops believe in the law, why do they fight the law?
They don't believe in it.
Why do they fight for injustice? Why do they fight against justice? Why don't they just go ahead and settle, plead guilty? I mean, we know that he killed him. We know that he didn't need to.
There goes Second Amendment.
They never need to kill anybody, but they always do.
There goes Second Amendment.
Yeah, there's a Second Amendment. If you're of color, you have a gun, they'll kill you. But so by violating the Constitution and then further fighting families against justice, fighting against justice is dishonorable. Yeah. You want to go in? You want to try to go in?
people at their seats are on a break. I'm afraid if I go in there, they're gonna say, "There's no spots. There's no spots in the court." Oh, really? They're back.
I thought they were on break, but
I think maybe she's breaking the bench. I don't know. Yeah, that don't make any sense, does it? So you gonna try to get in? We'll probably get kicked out.